Hi guys and welcome to the Warhammer Lady. So I'm back from holidays and from weekends. I actually forgot we had a holiday in Sweden coming up, so I stayed longer with my folks than I had expected. The holiday was good. And I've made my tau lists. It was harder than I thought to make army lists for an army that I don't play. Because in the beginning, even though I read the codex, I really didn't know where to start. For demons, for example, when I made my army list for those, or for Dark Angels, I had a general idea of what I liked and what I wanted, and of course what I had. Now I didn't. So these lists I went for, in the end, personal preference. And to make a competitive list, but not a list that would make your opponent just never want to play again. So I'm going to stress these are not tournament lists. They are not mean, nasty lists. They're good competitive lists for playing with your friends. And again, personal preference. So we'll just see what we can come up with. It's 750 points, 1,250 points, and 1,750 points to give you a wider range. So let's get started with 750. For 750 points, the HQ I chose was a Cater Fireblade because he's cheap and he has a nice ability of giving you one extra shot. And so I choose to put him together with 12 Fire Warriors because the more shots they can generate, the better. He has no upgrades whatsoever. You can't even give him upgrades, but nevertheless, he's a cheap HQ, so good for 750 points. He will be accompanied by 12 Fire Warriors, and I will also have 2 smaller groups of Fire Warriors. No upgrades whatsoever because I wanted them as cheap as possible. They're in units of 6. And this is only because in my games that I've played since 6th edition came out, I've lost games due to the fact that I don't have enough troops that can hold objectives or take the relic, for example. So those are only for that purpose. They're not giving a transport, nothing, because that would make them too expensive. So I'll just have them in the back until the end of the game or until they're needed. Then we have Pathfinders, a group of 6. And they don't have upgrades either, I just have them for their Marker-Light effect. Because Marker-Light for Tau, it's so good. You can't play without Marker-Lights, you need the extra Ballista skill because Ballista skill 3 is not that good. So just the Marker-Lights. Then we have a Riptide. Now the Riptide is my personal favourite, it will be in all of the lists because I love it. This particular Riptide has an Ion Accelerator because I am so used to play against Space Marines and Terminators on 750 points. Deathwing, for example. Big blasts. They make me happy. So yes, Ion Accelerator to take out nasty stuff with nasty armor. Or just Space Marines. It also has a Twin-Link Fusion Blaster, which is their Melta, just in case. And we have a XV88 Crisis team. At first I thought I'd put them 2 of them in one group, but I thought that they would actually just be hamstringed by being with one another, so I placed them in 2 separate groups. They both have shield drones because I would hate for them to just die out of a few random shots. Always nice to have a save for that. And one of them have a Twin-Link Fusion Blaster and an ordinary Flamer, so he's basically for tanks, but just in case he comes into close quarters, a Flamer is always nice to have. And the other one has a Cyclic Ion Blaster. Because, for example, against demons or anything with an armor save over 4+, this is a high strength blast. Always good. And last but not least, we have a Broadside. Just one, perhaps not the best, but they're expensive on 750 points, so one of them. And it has the Twin-Linked High Yield Missile Pod, the Twin-Linked Smart Missile System, and one Seeker Missile, and the Velocity Tracker, so he can choose to have Skyfire if he wants to. I myself have never been up against flyers on 750 points, but I know the Hildrake exists. And Hildrakes can be mean. So this is for the use of Skyfire if you need it. Otherwise it's just lots of shots. So this is my 750 point list. You could also, if you want to, switch out 6 Fire Warriors, put in 5 more Pathfinders in one group, and you could still have 750 points. So that's 750. You have a little bit of everything to take care of, a little bit of everything. For 1,250 points, I choose to have Commander Farsight. And this is only because of his Warlord trait. The last time I played my demons, I went up against one commander with 2 crisis suits. And he got that Warlord trait, which allows for him not to deep strike, and he caused havocs with the flamers that they had in that group. Also, I'm a bit partial towards things that make you not scatter because of my history of mishaps with my demons. So I like Farsight, so I choose to have him, and he's accompanied by 3 bodyguards so as to not take up a force organization slot, and 6 flamers in total, so 2 per bodyguard, and 3 fusion blasters, 1 per guy. I thought of giving them different weapons, but it's always better to have a synergy in a group, so they do the same thing. And it's a good group. You can either choose to deep strike them next to a unit of, say, 20 pink horrors and flame them all to death. None will survive, trust me, I tried. Or tanks with the fusion blasters. So they're good for a little bit of whatever. Really nice. Then I have the Riptide again with the Ion Accelerator. Because he's a good thing. I like the Big Blast. The Big Blast is always going to be there. A Hammerhead with Long Strike. If you've seen the review videos that I did, Hammerhead with Long Strike, really good against tanks, really good. And the Submunition, because it's a cheap upgrade which allows for you to fire other shots if needed be. So good. And then we have with the long name, one Skyray Missile Defense Gunship. Just because, kind of as its name applies, flyers. On 1,250 points, for me at least, I'm bound to face 1 flyer. So I need something to take them out. Only for that, it's a good thing, for Skyfire purposes. Then I have Fire Warriors again. I prefer Fire Warriors over Recruits. I think they're better. And I like to have just shooty things in the back. So Fire Warriors, 1 group of 12 and 1 group of 11, just because of their point cost. No upgrades whatsoever, just shooty things. Then 2 units of Pathfinders, 5 in each, again only for marker lights, so no unit upgrades whatsoever, just sole purpose of marker lights for Tau. And I can have, because I have 2 units, I can have 1 on each side of the battle board and they can be where they're needed the most. Instead of just relying on only 1 unit as I basically did in the 750 point list. And last but not least, a stealth team of 5. Because of their awesome cover save. They have both Shrouded and Stealth. So you have to put them in cover or they won't be as good. But if you do, you could potentially have a 2+ cover save. And lots of shots. That's 20 shots for those 5 guys. So this is my 1,250 point list. Again, just as for 750, a little bit of everything. I have something for tanks, I have something for Space Marines and Terminators, I have something for flyers, and for ordinary infantry, and for taking objectives, and so forth. That's what I feel is the most important when making a list, so that I can potentially take care of whatever I face, regardless of the opponent that I face. So, 1,250. Moving on. Now remember that I said that when I built these lists, I was a bit partial towards personal preference. So, for 1,750 points, I still have Commander Farsight as an HQ, because I like so much what he does. And now he has 4 bodyguards. They're initially the same as the other unit. They have 2 flamers each and 1 fusion blaster. So same use. The Riptide with its Ion Accelerator, it's still there. And now we've added a second Riptide with the heavy burst cannon this time. I would love to have 3. Like seriously, but you don't want to be that guy with 3 Riptides. But 2's good. Two I can deal with. And giving him the other option of weapons, it's always good to have the versatility of weapons that you could have. So yes, I like versatility. I like to have lots of different things, to do lots of different things. So 2 Riptides, 2 different weapons. Always neat. The Hammerhead is still there with Long Strike and Submunition. Submunition is a must because of the ability to shoot other shots if you needed to, and it's such a cheap upgrade, so don't forget it. Skyray Missile Defense Gunship, still there for flyers, sole purpose. 2 broadsides with 2 shield rounds, because it would suck if they died just from some nasty shots like the first or the second round. Shield rounds are there just to make sure that doesn't happen. So place them neatly. They have their ordinary heavy rail rifles and 2 secret missiles, 1 each, because secret missiles are good. And then we have 1 unit of 11 fire warriors, 1 unit of 10 fire warriors, and 1 unit of 6 fire warriors. They're a bit odd in number because I needed to fix those units up in order to have all the other stuff that I have. They don't have any unit upgrades or any other upgrades whatsoever. I only wanted them for some firepower for a cheap point cost. And to take objectives and hold objectives and relics and so forth. Then we have 3 groups of 4 Pathfinders, again, only for the marker lights, so no unit upgrades whatsoever, and having 3 units gives you even more mobility with those marker lights. You can have them where they're needed. Last but not least, the stealth team. Still 5 guys, still put them in cover, and they will be awesome. Lots of shots. So the list hasn't really changed that much from 1250 to 1750, but that's my playstyle. As I said, I have a little bit of everything so that I can face tanks, I can face flyers, I can face lots of infantry, I can face space marines and terminators, because when I build these lists, I try to make sure that I can face different opponents and not just tailor them for one opponent in specific. So those were the lists. Again, they're not tournament lists, they're not super competitive, they're not super mean. If you have any input whatsoever, write a comment down below. If you have your own list, you're welcome to email me, because I like to see what other people make with their units that they have. Now these are just, I don't know the units, so these are not based on what I have, like Dark Angels was. This is just what I would like to have. So again, just leave any comments you like, and thanks for tuning in and have a good day. Bye.